Sitting with me this week in the Coach's Corner, head football coach Rick Willis. Thank you for joining me.
You bet. Happy to do it.
So this is your second time this year on the show, and last time you were with us, it was a couple months before, and you had just ended the non-conference schedule 3-0, and we had talked a little bit about your chances of going undefeated. And now that goal has come to fruition, how proud are you of this team so far and what they've accomplished in the regular season?
Well, I think our team's done a great job. They've done a great job of showing up focused and ready to go each week, and I'm really proud of the leadership that they've demonstrated. I think it's a focused, experienced team, and I think that's shown up week in and week out.
Going back to last week against Loras, how did that game sum up your season? It seemed to me like it almost was the perfect ending to the perfect season.
Well, it was an interesting day because of the weather. I think something that people will remember. We don't have that many opportunities to play in weather like that, and then we were able to kind of take control of the game very early, set the tone early. One of the things we talked about wanting to do, and then the thing just kind of, no pun intended, I guess, but just sort of snowballed, from there, and all three phases had success, and ended up getting a chance to have a lot of people play in the game, and it was a very special way to end the season.
I guess we can take the accomplishments one by one. So back-to-back Iowa Conference championships, how did that feel?
Well, it's one of the things we talked about in our meeting with our seniors on August 15th, is that it had been since 2007 that a team had won the Iowa Conference in back-to-back seasons. And so that was certainly the goal, having won it in 2013. And so that was good to see us be able to do that again.
And then also, for those of you who don't know, Wartburg broke the school record in total yards of offense and also most points scored in a game. Is that something you ever think about as a head coach going into games? Obviously, you probably want to get a good lead, and then take some of your starters out. But did you ever imagine that kind of a score?
No, it's not something we thought about or have really even talked about much since then. To be honest with you, ever since that game ended on Saturday, it's just been kind of a flurry of activity with things that you do when the season ends, and then getting ready for the playoffs and all that sort of thing. So we really haven't even thought about that much, but certainly it was a special day for our offense.
With the regular season over now, some of the awards and accolades coming in, Wartburg sweeping all the major awards in the Iowa Conference, Logan Schrader Offensive MVP, Spencer Capitani Defensive MVP, and then yourself winning the Iowa Conference Coach of the Year for the second time in a row. Have you guys had a chance to even think about that, or how proud of you are you for those awards?
Well, I don't think we've really had much chance. I think those are types of things that you reflect on as time goes by and when we finish. But, when you have a good team, people get recognized, and a lot of times individuals get recognized during this time, but those awards wouldn't be possible without the work of everybody on our team. So I know that Logan and Cap would feel the same way, that they were supported by such a great group of guys that made it possible for them to have that. And certainly, this Coach of the Year thing is kind of a misnomer. I mean, we've got a bunch of great coaches that make that happen. I mean, the thing, if I deserve any credit, I guess it's for hiring a bunch of good guys that allowed me to do that. So,
for you as a coach, winning your 8th Iowa Conference championship, now you're number 2 on the all-time list for football in the Iowa Conference, behind the legendary Ron Schipper for Central. Have you had time to think about that as well? That's some pretty good company to be in.
Well, we always want to win the Iowa Conference championship. That's our goal. We've been fortunate enough to do that several times, and each one of those years is special. Those teams are all special. It's a great challenge to do that. It's a great accomplishment when you can get it done. And it just goes back to the hard work and the dedication of so many people over a long period of time. That's talking about 16 years of me being the head coach, and all the assistant coaches that have come through here. Many of them are doing great things at other places right now, the current staff that we have here, and really the 1,000 plus players that we've had play in our program over that time. They all are part of that. And when it comes time for us to say goodbye to the seniors this year, one of the things we'll be reminding them of is that the future success that we have here, they're still a part of that, because they help lay the foundation, and they leave a heritage and a legacy behind of how we do things.
Going back to some more awards, I believe the number is 13, first team all-conference. How do you get that many people on first team? And we've been talking about it all year. We've been looking for a weakness in this Wartburg football team, and we haven't found one. What does that prove? 13 players on the first team all-conference. What does that prove? Just how balanced and how dynamic this team is.
Well, that's the word I was going to use. I mean, I think it speaks to the balance that we have on our football team, from position to position, from offense to defense, and I think it talks a little bit about the respect that the other coaches in our league have for the work that our players have done.
Enough with the accolades and all that. Moving on to the playoffs now. The D3 playoffs pairings were released this past Sunday. I know Nathan had written an article about maybe Wartburg being snubbed. Do you feel snubbed at all in the rankings? I know you guys have worked your way up now to 4th in the country, going against St. Thomas. For the people who don't know at home, St. Thomas was the runner-up 2 years ago. What type of a challenge are they going to present?
Well, they're going to present a tremendous challenge. There's no doubt about it. If you look back the last 6-7 years in Division III football, St. Thomas has about as big a name as anybody. They played in the 2012 national title game, and they have a huge reputation, and it's certainly a tough matchup. There's no doubt about it. I mean, oftentimes I think when you've done what we've done during the regular season, you think you may have a chance to get maybe a little bit more favorable matchup than what happened. And I think we were just kind of a victim of the combination of mostly geography and teams from the same league being in our region, and just the way that the NCAA decides to prioritize how they do the pairings. And so, there's really nothing you can do about it. Obviously, when you get into the playoffs, you're going to have to beat good teams. And the name of the game is to advance. You just scrap and claw and fight and try to advance to the next game. And so our guys have done a great job of focusing this week in some difficult weather conditions, and we've adjusted a few things to accommodate for that. But I think they'll be ready to go on Saturday.
Wartburg defensively ranked in the top 5, top 2 in a lot of categories in the Iowa Conference. Now, how is that defense going to stack up against an offense like St. Thomas? You've already played 2 teams from the MIAC this year, Bethel and then Augsburg in the first week, and you did a pretty good job of controlling them. How are you going to control a team like St. Thomas? Well,
I think the biggest thing is that they're a physical team. They want to run the football, and we're going to have to do a good job of matching that physicalness and try to keep them from being on schedule all the time. If they're on schedule and they're in a situation where they can run or pass anytime, and you have to defend both those, it's difficult. So we need to try to stop the run and try to get them into more obvious passing situations. That'll help us a lot if we can do that.
The crowd base, the school support has been pretty high throughout the year and has been growing as you guys have continued to win and win by large margins. What do you expect the atmosphere to be like on Saturday?
Well, I hope it'll be a great atmosphere. We really do appreciate the support that we've received from everybody, from the families of our players and from the campus community, the Waverly community, and that's been special. I think this team has kind of grabbed the attention of a lot of people as the year's gone on. Obviously you get into the end of the year here and the weather gets cold and things like that, and you hope that doesn't affect the environment. But I certainly would encourage everybody to come out and support this team. These guys have done some special things, and I think they've earned that support, and it'll be great. We haven't had a home playoff game here since 2010, so that'll be exciting.
At the beginning of the year, a lot of times the captains, seniors will sit down and talk about what their goals are, what they want to be remembered for. What do you guys want to be remembered for as you head into the playoffs?
Well, these guys have high goals. I mean, they want to do something that hasn't been done here before, and so however far that means we advance, I don't know. I'm not going to get into predicting that, but I mean, they have refused throughout the season to put limits on themselves, and I think they're still in that mindset.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you
for your time. And the first round of the NCAA playoffs, that'll be at home Saturday at noon, Wartburg taking on St. Thomas. Reporting for Night Vision, I'm Seth Nutting.